If you took Bitcoin on-chain metrics and you paired that up with the fundamentals of Bitcoin, and then you paired that up with the velocity in which Bitcoin has entered this bull market, and it all spelled out something incredibly bullish for Bitcoin, would you pay attention? What is up, everyone? Welcome to Crypto Capital Venture. Hit that subscribe, hit that like, turn the notification bells on for the very best technical analysis Bitcoin videos. I do one pretty much every day. This is Bitcoin zoomed in kind of on the daily chart. We're going to zoom in on the charts. If you're watching Bitcoin today, I'm going to go over what's occurring right now. But this video, I'm telling you, it really is to me like this secret data, because I don't see a lot of people talking about it. And when you start pairing it up with what's happening on the charts, to me, it is ridiculously bullish. And I'm a data type of guy, data-driven charts. So let's try and break this down as simple as possible. I want to talk about the Bitcoin halving. I want to talk about triangle that we'll discuss in a minute, and the bull market doors. So let's get that out of the way first. Here's the triangle. This is just that huge bull market high to bear market low, this symmetrical triangle that's set up that we broke out of, in September area, or I guess I should say July 2020. Target to the upside right around $100,000. Now, the same type of move happened all the way back here in the last cycle. Target to the upside was around $8,000. Bitcoin far surpassed that to a $20,000 swing high. That kind of plays out the case for Bitcoin surpassing this $100,000 target to the $200,000 range that we talked about maybe 2 or 3 weeks ago. But that is besides the point. What I want to talk about is everything that's transpiring on this screen, and pair that up with on-chain metrics and the velocity of Bitcoin. So what do I mean by that? Let's chart right here. This is the Bitcoin halving 2016. Right here is the Bitcoin halving of 2020. Now we are 294 days past this most recent Bitcoin halving. Now, what I want to show you is Bitcoin entering this bull market right here through this green Fibonacci retracement area, this green channel, the bull market doors, comes up and breaks the 1618 line, bounces off that 1618 line, and leads us to where we are right now, 294 days past the halving of 2020. Now, if you look at Bitcoin entering the bull market last cycle, breaks to the upside, breaks the 1618 line, revisits the 1618 line, and it took 364 days to actually do that and actually test the 1618 line. That's right here, this line right here. Now, 364 days, and we're still sitting at the 1618 line before continuation to the bull market. We are only 294 days into this post-halving 2020, and Bitcoin is already overextended currently around 70% from that 1618 line. That does one thing. It simply illustrates the velocity in which Bitcoin is moving in this bull market. So from a purely charting perspective, if you look at these charts, there's a lot of similarities of Bitcoin revisiting that 1618 line back in 2017 compared to Bitcoin very briefly testing the 1618 line here. And so technically, from a charting perspective, Bitcoin has that next swing high. So technically, we are right here comparative to the last bull market, and this is September. However, the metrics and so much other data suggests that Bitcoin is very much right around here. So Bitcoin is far exceeded where I think anybody thought Bitcoin would be right now, sitting at $51,000 in March of 2021. Now here is the secret chart that I've just been watching, and I just really like it. This is the R-HODL ratio. I'll put a link in the description. You can read about all the indicator overview, what it is, what it's based on HODL waves. But a couple quick points. The indicator is able to identify with great accuracy the price high of each of Bitcoin's previous macro cycles. It identifies the market top to within a few days accuracy. So let's actually look at the chart live, and here it is. So, and you can see this overheated zone at the top, this red part of the screen is basically this chart calling the top of the bull markets. And it really did. You can see 2017 top, here's a 2013 top, and right now, Bitcoin sitting in March not even close to that overheated zone. And if you take these metrics, and this is some of that data I'm talking about that suggests that Bitcoin is kind of comparatively in that June, July 2017 area, if you just look at these metrics alone and you go back and you can see Bitcoin in this July area right at a similar level of that bull market. So going back to that chart, again, this is the most bullish illustration of the velocity of Bitcoin, because the metrics, and that's not the only metrics that tell us, those are not the only metrics that tell us that Bitcoin is kind of comparatively right here. If we're going to look at the last bull market, there's a lot of data that suggests that. But what's so bullish to me is the charts suggest that Bitcoin is actually far exceeded that area, and we are more in line with this swing high, and we're putting in consolidation right now. We can zoom in on the 6 hour to discuss that. But what did that next swing high look like from this consolidation area for Bitcoin? Meaning Bitcoin's far overextended from this 1618 line, we get the consolidation, and then we explode to the upside. So this is what it looks like. Bitcoin, same consolidation type of pattern. We have to let it play out. There might be some more downside. Maybe there's even a month more of downside. This doesn't affect this macro chart, even if we're touching $40,000 or something. The next explosive move for Bitcoin has Bitcoin reaching this $100,000 target, because you can see Bitcoin after this consolidation reaching this target right here, which was around $8,000. So this is so interesting to me to really take on-chain metric data, which we looked at, the R hodl wave, and pair that up with just purely charting data, meaning, in terms of just this entire macro Fibonacci that we have here, and the overextension from the 1618, and the velocity in which Bitcoin is moving and separating from the halving comparative to last time. Bitcoin is flying. And I think the reason for that, the velocity of Bitcoin, is the demand factor and those fundamentals coming into play. I don't have to tell you all of the headlines that are happening right now. You know what they are. The demand for Bitcoin is picking up, and it's happening even at a $50,000 Bitcoin in March. And so all of these things combined, I think, in my opinion, they tell an incredibly bullish story for Bitcoin. And in terms of data, this is just the beginning of the data. There's so many other metrics that we can look at, and I think we will. But here we are on the 6 hour, and we're all zoomed in on the charts now. All that macro, just kind of put it aside for a second. It's bullish long term from my viewpoint, but here we are on the macro. This is a 6 hour. We've been tracking so many similarities. And isn't it awesome? The similarities, the synergy, the flow of Bitcoin, whether you're looking at those macro charts over here, you see the similarities, or you're in the micro charts here, we see the similarities of consolidations. And here's Bitcoin, a very similar move to this falling wedge that we had in January, a big dip, 30% or so. Bitcoin kind of putting in a consolidation pattern a little quicker this time around, breaking this trend line. We've done a lot of tracking in terms of Bitcoin. If it's breaking that, revisiting that trend line, and then exploding to the upside. So the one thing that I'm watching is Bitcoin didn't exactly touch this upper trend line. Now, Bitcoin truly consolidated for a throwback to that trend line in that last pattern. But right now, we are overextended now from that trend line right around 10%. And that is an extremely good scenario for Bitcoin. What I'm most curious about, and this is kind of what I'm watching on the charts today, is going to the daily chart. We have around, as I do this video, just under 7 hours left of this daily chart. And that's important because you can see right now, Bitcoin on the daily, this candle is above this 20-day moving average. Now that 20-day moving average is just such an important area for Bitcoin in this long-term trend of higher highs and higher lows since we entered the bull market. Really since September, October, when Bitcoin kind of just started exploding to the upside. 20-day moving average, very important. The 50-day moving average, obviously the extreme support area for Bitcoin in a bull market. We did touch it back in January. We almost got there previously, that could be the support. I mean, Bitcoin, it's just nice to see, got pulled into the 50-day moving average. Most recently, if we just look at that, Bitcoin was at one point only 5% overextended. That's just such good consolidation. It's what we want to see. But right now, on this daily chart, I would love to see if we can get a candle close very similar to what Bitcoin did after the bounce off of the wedge back then, which is right here, this daily candle close above the 20-day moving average. And then what happens next in this next new daily candle, extremely important. To get a full daily candle above the 20-day moving average would be the most short-term bullish thing I think we could watch out for Bitcoin right now. And that's kind of what I'm watching out for on these short-term charts. But obviously, right now, Bitcoin, I mean, you can just see this 6 hour candle, a little indecisive if we're going to get this breakout to the upside or not. But time will tell. I'll be tracking this, but I really wanted to just break down these macro charts, everybody. The on-chain metrics, the fundamentals, the velocity of Bitcoin in the middle of this bull market. Truly, truly awesome to watch. $100,000. I mean, if you think about it, if we were talking about this breakout and the target to the upside all the way back then in September at like a $9,000, $10,000 Bitcoin, people kind of might have thought it was just crazy. But Bitcoin's halfway, $50,000, halfway to $100,000. It really is turning into one move away. And I know that sounds crazy, but it's just the simplicity of it. So let me know your thoughts about these metrics, about the cycles of Bitcoin, the velocity of Bitcoin. I would love to see what your thoughts are on this data. If you're here, you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe, hit the like. I really appreciate it. It means a lot. I'll see you in the next video. God bless.